Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tim Richards, and on behalf of the Managing General Agents Association, I'd like to welcome you to our briefing this afternoon. This is being delivered by InsureApps on the subject of taking advantage of technology to improve claims service. Before I introduce our presenter, I'd just like to run through a few housekeeping points. First of all, please ensure your microphone and camera are turned off. If you'd like to ask a question, do use the chat facility and do use that throughout. So if you've got a question that pops into your head, put it in the chat facility and I'll read it out to Stephen straight away. Or if you wish, you can leave it to the end, whichever you prefer. If we run out of time, questions will be answered after the event, and the presentation is accredited for CII, CPD accreditation quality if relevant to your ongoing professional development programme. The briefing is being recorded and a link to the recording will be issued after the event, together with the slides and our feedback survey. Please do take the time to complete our survey. It takes no longer than 2 minutes and allows us to deliver the best possible future events to our membership. So just to recap, today's briefing is on the subject of taking advantage of technology to improve claim service from InsureApps. So let me introduce you to our presenter, Stephen Marshall. Stephen is co-founder and director of InsureApps since 2017 and has over 25 years insurance company and insurance broking experience. A significant part of his career was spent working for Aviva in underwriting, strategy and IT roles. Stephen worked for 8 years in an MGA and understands the pressures facing MGAs. With 4 years experience as an insurance broker and parents who had their own brokerage, Stephen has seen insurance from all angles. Stephen is married with 3 grown-up children. He's a keen golfer, athletics coach, and Liverpool FC manager. So supporter, beg your pardon, supporter.
Manager.
I was promoting you there. So without further ado, do enjoy the briefing, everyone. And Stephen, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to be manager of Liverpool. Tim's told you a bit about me, and there's a slide and photograph. You could probably tell I'm the one on the right there in that photograph. Please don't tell my family that I've used that picture. I don't think they'd be terribly happy. But as Tim mentioned, I know the challenges facing MGAs. I worked at Primary General, UK General, back in 2005 for 8 years. The challenges of capacity and binders and all of that kind of stuff. In many ways, my career was the wrong way round. Although I had a family broking business, I really started with insurance companies, through to underwriting agencies, through to insurance brokers. And it was when I was an insurance broker at GS Group that I was closest to the customer. And a customer said to me, surely there's a better way to report claims than these sort of bump cards that you give my drivers. And they lose them and they forget to fill them in. And so, long story short, we built them a claims app. And then we saw there really wasn't an independent claims app out there for insurance brokers. So we launched InsureApps back in 2017. And we'll skip over about the keen golfer and all that kind of stuff. What we're going to do today is just get you thinking about technology in your business. I'm going to do a live demo. Nothing better than a live demo to actually show you, get you thinking, show you how it works. And then some of the other learning objectives on this slide will fall into place. But try to sort of like sit back. I'm going to show you motor, but this can apply to travel, property liability, anyone who makes a claim and is looking for efficiencies. This kind of technology will work. The first place to start is probably how are we as an industry doing on claim service? What's claim service like 30 odd years and weren't things great in the good old days? But insurance, we've not really been very good at using technology. In some cases, we've actually tried to over the years not use technology because where was I? Claim service just now. particularly in a post-COVID world, people working from home, businesses, third-party administrators having invested in call centers and insurers investing in call centers, that becomes the answer. You know, someone used to say to me that if the only tool you've got in the toolbox is a hammer, then every problem's a nail. And in many ways, the world has moved on, but insurance didn't quite keep pace. And what we've tried to do is introduce something that's a bit different. Subsequently, we have an industry where trust levels are lower than average. Quite a lot of people looking at insurance as a necessary evil. And what would build that trust is a reputation for a great claim service. So as an industry, that's the direction we need to move in, and we need to embrace technology. I'm going to flick over some of these slides quite quickly, but one of the things that drove insure apps to exist was that there was a dynamic within motor insurance where people were being driven into hire cars and being charged more for their insurance because, as it says there, a 2014 report showed that there was over £84 million extra being paid by the policyholders because of the way the industry had organized itself around credit hire. And that still exists to some extent today, in fact, probably even more so. There was evidence uncovered of charging 4 to 5 times the going rate. And this slide here is quite a complicated one, but what it shows is that in motor, the faster you report things, this is an old Allianz document going back 10 years, the faster you report things, the more you'll save in money. A typical whiplash claim reported on day one with not an awful lot going wrong might have cost you back then about £5,000. Get to day 30, number of things gone wrong across the higher costs, injury costs, etc., and your average cost was £20,000. So there's a real need here for something to speed up the whole process. When you're looking at your own business, and you could be involved in lots in the MGA world, in lots of different types of insurance, it would be great to look at your customer journey. Is it, as it says there, is it easy for them to claim? Quite often in the MGA world, when I was involved, we would focus on the capacity and the binders and the product and getting it right. And then claims became a bit of an afterthought. And what we really need to look at is the things that are facing the customer, put yourselves in their position. And is there anything that you would change if you were a customer making a claim in your world at the moment? And how could technology help that? So no better way than to actually do a live demo. Okay, so this is the risky bit. Okay, so what we're going to do here is you should be able to see my phone. And what we're going to do is have a look at a typical sort of motor claim. Okay, our app is iOS, as Apple and Android. You can download it from the respective stores. People can white label. People can use a claims made easy entry level. But what I'm going to show you is a typical sort of motor claim. I notice there's people waiting to be admitted. Thank you. The motor claim here, I'm going to click on it. I'm just going to update my details on here. So I registered on the app, and I can put in whatever I want into this space here. And I'm just going to actually take a picture of my license that's here on the desk, and I'm going to use that into here, and I'm going to submit that and save that. And why I'm doing that as well is to show you that you can capture information on not only the person who's insured, but also what they're actually insuring. So we've got apps that take pictures of the engine bay of a vehicle and 5 other pictures, so you get an agreed value on the on the classic car, or pictures of the yacht that's insured, or if it's an embedded insurance kind of product for cycles, you could have a picture of the bicycle. All of that can be stored in advance. And then if you actually have a claim, you go in, you give the driver in this instance a bit of advice. We're looking for witnesses. Most importantly, we're not admitting liability or fault. We'll start the claim. I'm tapping on the screen here. I'm going to just roll it back an hour. It's asking me if I was the driver at the time of the incident. It wasn't, you know, my spouse or somebody else that's using this phone to report a claim. If it was, then it automatically gives you the option of filling things in like that. So it's all sort of quite smart. We continue. Automatically takes me to GPS to my location, but what I'll do is I'll choose, let's just say London, and we'll just go for I'll just move it around a little bit like the Uber app onto Northumberland Avenue there. Confirm. So it's an API into Google Maps. It's automatically confirming across the address, 8 Northumberland Avenue. Quite happy with that. Apps designed in a way that customer journey piece, understanding what your customer is facing. So the first person to leave the scene of an accident are probably going to be witnesses. So let's have a look and see if we can capture witness information. We capture witness information on motor claims 26% of the time, which is about 3 times the UK average, we're told by insurers. That really helps when it comes to liability. So we'll just put in that we've got Bob. Is a third party involved? Yes, there's a third party involved. We'll say that it's James. We'll not fill everything in, but we'll say that James is a driver. Okay. And we'll put in, I'll quite often ask for vehicle registrations, but I'll put mine in, seeing as we've got a few people on the call. And I'll look that up. It automatically comes back from the DVLA database with the vehicle. That's now been confirmed. I can add some photographs, so I can open the camera, take a picture of a picture of a picture, use that, it goes straight into the app. I can also do it from the gallery. On the vehicle, I can tap where the damage has occurred. What I'm trying to do here is just show you the functionality of the technology. So forget that it's a motor claim and you've got a scheme or an MGA that are involved in you know, travel or something else. It's the functionality of this that's important. Is somebody injured? If they were, you could put in that they had a head injury or whatever it was. You might be surprised. We've had people filling the app in, not just from the roadside, but we've had people filling the app in from hospital. Are police attending? If they are, we'll capture details around them. We'll just say no. Police attend about 3 or 4% of the time in our incidents. We have had over 30,000 claims through the technology. Your own vehicle, much the same sort of information as before. We'll just tap, there's some damage there. Actually, what we'll do is we'll clear that and we'll say that this is actually an HGV. Okay. And I was driving the HGV and I've got some damage in the rear there. Is my vehicle drivable? I'm just going to say yes. A lot of our apps will have that information up front and get them to automatically phone a number and come back to the app and all of that kind of stuff. Photographs, please make sure it's safe to take photographs, but you know, give me an idea of what the location's like. Help me to understand what's going on in terms of road markings and junctions and all of that kind of stuff. And then please describe what happened. You can type it in, or as quite a lot of our drivers like to do, they like to hit the record button. He came round the corner far too quickly and ran into the back of me, full stop. He is an idiot, exclamation mark. This proves that Scottish accents and voice recognition actually work. Okay, I'll continue. And in the last page, do you have any video footage of the incident or any telematics footage of the incident? There's technology as well to link up with cloud-based video footage of incidents and things like that, working with the right camera people. And then the final bit there is just any other area, anything else that we should know about the claim. We get some people putting in questions around previous accidents, claims, convictions, all of that kind of stuff. But in essence, what we try and do is encourage people to record what they're, record it, as much information as possible, and record it quickly and get it across. We had a fleet that came to us, 50 vehicles, 11 average days for reporting. They now have over 100 vehicles, and of the 53 claims they've reported so far this year, the average is 36 minutes to report a claim. So you can see on motor the importance of transforming that culture in the business and transforming that service by using technology. We can review, we can go back, we can change things, or we can hit submit. When we hit submit, just going to get up the back office. When we hit submit, a number of things happen. A number of people are told about the claim, and you can control who gets to see the claim and who knows about the claim. So what I'm going to do is just drag onto the screen the back office portal, and this is where you get to see the claim that's just come through. You can now see there's 4 claims that have come through, and if I look carefully at 18 minutes past 1, there's a claim that came through. This is just our demo section, and what we've got here is all of the information. You saw when I put my picture, my license in there. I can have a look at that in a bit more detail. You saw that I put it to Northumberland Avenue, so if I wanted to have a look in a bit more detail, I can just drag Street View straight across. It's not a live view, obviously, it's just Street View, but it gives me an idea of maybe how wide the road is. There's a couple of bus stops around. Was that an influence in what might have gone on in this claim? Just brings to life the situation and helps me fit in with some of the photographs as well. If I wanted to look, as I say, in more detail at some of the photographs, I can zoom in and have a look at that. And basically all the information that I recorded is now in here. Now what I can do from here is download that as a PDF, attach it to a client file. I can email it straight from here to somebody else if I want to. I can create, I've got a list of all the people who registered on the app here, and I can download that onto a spreadsheet. I can create forwarding rules. So typically for a motor claim, the transport manager would know about it in the business, the insurance broker would know about it, and sometimes it would go directly to an MGA or an insurer so that they would know about it too. And this is where I would do this. So I've got one set up there for Aviva, but if, for example, I wanted to put the Davies Group in there, they're my TPA, I'll add the email, and I put the forwarding rule in place that says, please, for the next 5 years, send the Davies Group all of my, global motors, let's just say global liability. Okay. I could put it for an individual client reference number so that one client goes one way and another client goes another way. I can add that rule. And there you can see that we've got the Davies Group getting all of our liability claims, and that rule is now active. The thing that you can't see on here, it's in our live area, is an API directly in, I'm going to talk about API slightly later, an API directly into a number of suppliers, a number of TPAs, where we send not just a copy of the PDF, but we send a file electronically into their back office system. Okay, and then there can be a section here where we create a dashboard for clients. We can filter it by client reference number. We can create pre-renewal reports based on what goes into the app. So how long does it take them to report a claim, the age, profile, and number of claims, perhaps a geographic pattern. We've picked up a number of things from that. Witness details, and how many claims per month. So that gives you a flavour for the actual technology itself. If I've got no questions, then I'm just going to carry on with the presentation. So hopefully this will come up. And you can see there we talked about it, the information flow coming in from the driver at the roadside, in this instance going to the fleet manager, also to the broker, the claims management company, and potentially also the MGA. Okay, instant transfer of information across all of those people. And what you do is you make sure that the technology is structured in a way that it's working for you, not you being dictated on the technology. Okay, our average reporting is approaching 50% within an hour. The example I gave you earlier of the 11 hours down to 36 minutes, they're at about 70% of their claims are reported within an hour. And they've transformed the business. So it's not about incremental change here, it's about using technology to completely transform the process. 37% of our claims happening outside of office hours, and you can have different rules for what happens within office hours versus what happens outside of office hours. So again, using the technology to suit yourselves. Client experience. Okay, it's great having technology, but what do people actually think about it? So you've got brokers, you've got end clients who we don't just have people who are fans, we've got people who are evangelists about the technology, and who will go and talk to other potential customers about just how good the technology is. Here's an example of a 750 vehicle fleet that was sitting at 20% reporting 5 years ago, and they've put more than 3,000 claims through the app, and you can see there 84% reported within 24 hours, an average of 3.5 photos per claim. It's brought alive for the claims handler receiving it, the claims. They're not just getting a telephone call describing what's happened. They're getting pictures, they're getting GPS, they're getting third-party details to do the third-party intervention. And the financial results for this particular client have been 7 figures savings in the making. We've done reports that show that over 20% of claims costs are saved by improving the speed and improving the quality of the information that people are getting. You can look at the number of claims, the time of day. Quite often we find that you've got that kind of normal distribution pattern based on the working day. Location. Again, standing back and thinking about where are the claims happening, and is there a reason for claims happening in those particular locations. So this client, we were able to identify that a lot of claims were happening in service stations. And what was happening was the clients' drivers weren't parking in the most sensible kind of way. And some of they were their car transporters, and their vehicles were hanging over parts of the main vehicle, and other lorries were coming in and clipping them. So just being able to park differently, or in certain circumstances, just putting a couple of cones out was the risk management strategy that helped to help this particular client improve their claims approach. Claims levers. So in your business, okay, the motor world is very much about speed, but is it about speed in your particular sector? Is it more about quality? Okay. Is it about linking into other information that other people hold and creating a smart system that delivers the customer something quite exceptional that makes them really sort of stand back? And the power of referral these days, with the social media world that we've got, is there something that you can create there story-wise that really makes your business fly because of the smart way that you're using technology? So you can save time, not just by the speed of people pressing buttons, but also about all of the information that you pull together in a timely manner, that saves not just the insurance people time and money, but the actual clients as well. They need to get on and do whatever they're doing business-wise, or in their personal lives. If it's in more personal lines insurance, they need to get on and live their lives. So if you can free up time for them, that's a big plus. Okay, and also, is there a story here that you can use with capacity providers? You're investing in technology that is saving claims costs or speeding up the process or increasing information levels. That's surely worth something, isn't it, Mr. Insurer, in terms of the capacity? So we're actually improving the underwriting result because of the type of technology we're introducing. Therefore, I can get a better rate or a longer deal or more profit share or whatever it is. I put this one in because quite often in our world we talk about APIs and people sort of glaze over, or they're expected to know what an API is. And very simply, imagine you go into a coffee shop or a restaurant and you order something from a waiter. That waiter then goes to the kitchen and communicates your order to the kitchen, who then respond back to you. And that waiter is acting like an API, application programming interface, between you and the kitchen. And that flow of information is far more efficient doing that than you going straight to the kitchen and not really speaking their kind of language. So what does technology do for you as an MGA? And this is something I'd really encourage you to have a good think about, not just by yourself, but with a group of you, where could you use this kind of technology in your setting? Okay, quite often you'll come across people say, no, we've done it this way for so long, and so this is the way that we should do it. Tell that to Blockbuster, or the other catalogue of examples we've got through the years where people didn't move with the times. Okay, so I've talked a bit about more information, but also from a branding point of view, where does this put you? Are you proactive? Are you looking at that customer journey? Are you au fait with the technology that's available? I mean, we've taken it to a certain level, and I'd always encourage people to think simply about things. But I have taken some of our accidents, for example, and some of the information anonymized and put it into AI engines and asked them, as an expert claims handler, what percentage would you put in terms of liability against the different people involved in these accidents? And I've been quite surprised at how good some of the information I've had back. Now, it's quite an early stage at this point for us to grab that and adopt it, because I'm not sure all of our customers and all of our insurance partners would necessarily want us to be doing that. They might want to do that themselves. You're also looking to help people in as it says there, in a moment of crisis. Okay, you're not just there to say yes and no. You're actually there to give them a bit of guidance and help them with their particular crisis. The last point there in terms of freeing up claims staff for more proactive claims handling is important, because quite often claims staff will look at this and go, oh, that'll do me out of a job. And what we've found is that that's not the case. What it does is it gives claims staff the information to do a better job in the more difficult claims scenarios, the more expert situations. And that's what claims people want to be doing. They don't want to be doing admin. They want to be helping people. So what other options have you got as well as this kind of technology? You can use a web app. And what's the difference between a web app and what I've shown you? What I've shown you, you download onto your phone, you can use without data backwards and forwards. You need data at the end to be able to submit the claim somewhere. But a web app, you wouldn't be able to do that. You would need data all of the time, backwards and forwards. A web app can be mobile friendly and can be very effective, because what you can do then is you can use QR codes to, for example, QR codes stuck on a product you're insuring or inside the vehicle, where you just scan the QR code, it takes you straight to the web app and you just fill it in from there. Okay. When you do a web app, the information flow is probably not as easy because people aren't going to remember client reference numbers and all that kind of stuff. But it's something to consider, that it's a good halfway house for grabbing information from your customers and getting it into your own systems. I've already talked about keeping it simple there at the bottom. The other thing that just above that I would like to emphasize is, and I've done this with a few people, we've been through a process where we've understood what their claims process is like. And actually, if there's no value in doing it, then don't introduce it. I was with one customer who I actually said to them, look, you'd be better spending, £10,000 on training for a particular aspect with your customers than you would be on creating an app that people won't necessarily want to use. So it's finding the situation where apps will work for you. There's your QR code that you can scan. We sort of print some of these off and put them inside vehicles or put them in places that are in client documentation, that kind of stuff. Who offers apps? And why have I put this up? Well, different people offering apps. Insurance companies. Aviva once said to us, how have you managed to get more people through your app in 6 months than we did in 5 years? And that's because you don't just give people the technology, you have to support them through it. You have to hold their hand, you have to sit down with them at renewal time or mid-year and say, let's get you onto this app and show you the benefits and show you how it's going to work for you as a business, or explaining to people through videos and other media how the technology is going to benefit them. So you've got insurance companies, you've got IT companies, claims management. We've come across people who built their own. What I would say is have a good think about it. Before you rush in and pick up something that somebody's offering you. You need a bit of strategic thought, because you could end up in a cul-de-sac where you are tied to that particular insurance company. or what if your capacity changes? What happens with your app? And you need to think that through and make sure you can see with ours, for example, with the way the rules are, if you move capacity from Aviva one day to AXA the next, you would just create a new rule for AXA, and the claims that came in prior to the AXA date would still go to Aviva, and the new claims coming in after the AXA date would go to AXA. So it's being flexible and thinking that through. And also, if you are going to go and get some technology built for you, make sure you've got someone with you who knows enough about technology to ask what I would call the daft laddie questions. So when we chose our partners in what we were doing, I went along and asked them questions about the Apple Store. How long does it take for an app to be approved? And the IT people that said, oh, it's approved the next day, it's no problem, I knew didn't know enough about the App Store or weren't telling me the truth. And so I was able to discount them straight away. So learn a bit about technology and don't let on, and have a chat with people and see how you get on. Customers will surprise you. So don't you limit them, and don't you let some of your management of, if it's a commercial world, some of the managers don't believe their drivers will be able to do things. So, for example, these two incidents here, customers have surprised us because we didn't think that big crashes would report through the app, and they have done. As I said before, we've had people reporting from hospital. The other thing we often get is, oh, my people are too old. The segment I'm going after, it's an old segment. They don't really know how to use technology. And that might have been right back in 2012, where about 9% of over 50s had smartphones. But the number now is 95% of over 50s have smartphones. And we've been through COVID, QR codes, technology, people using them on the golf course or in restaurants, or the world's moved on. So don't limit your customers' capabilities. So a few other things to consider: making sure that you've got the right people who have a bit of IT knowledge. Okay, put the foot on the ball and have a think about the direction your business is going in. But make sure you have time to do that. We get so many people. I mean, guarantee you today there'll be people have registered for this webinar and who aren't here because they've just had to rush off and do something for a client, handling a claim, or that's the world we're in. But you need to create some space to not keep doing what you've been doing, but to think strategically about the future. And get on that customer journey and understand what's going to make their lives better. Get a lot of salespeople saying, "Oh yeah, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that." And I've had that before in this business. And that, you know what? Sometimes that's not all bad, because you push yourself to go out and learn and come up with new solutions. Okay. So the last thing there, finding the right the right people. Okay. And the right people that you can trust. Insurance, utmost good faith, that trust element. We need that into the IT world as well when we're building things. And I think the last page that I have here is a little bit about my contact details and just asking if we've got any questions.
Yeah, so if anyone does have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat facility at the bottom of your screen, or come off mute, whichever you prefer. And if you want to ask them anonymously, just send them to me directly, which is absolutely fine. And Stephen, just really, I wondered, just as a question, what would you say are the top three advantages of using insurance?
Hmm. I hadn't prepared anything on that because this is about technology and not just about insurance. I mean, we're small and agile, so we move quickly on things. Give you a quick example. Had one of our clients say that they just picked up a 320 vehicle coach fleet. That coach fleet had been promised an app by their previous broker for 3 years, and it had never been delivered. So our client went in there and said, we'll get you an app. Long story short, we built them an app, and we built them a new module on their existing claims app from start to finish in 9 days. And so that client, the end client, the coach fleet, was absolutely blown away by the fact that we could do that. The other, what would I say? Second point, I'll tell you as it is. In terms of, won't just say yes all the time and try and sell. I will say to you sometimes, you know what, you'd be better off going and getting a bit of technology or a bit of software straight off the shelf and just using that rather than spending. I've seen too many IT projects where people just go down rabbit holes and spend inordinate amounts of money on systems that they've overspec'd. And maybe a third area would be, we keep it simple. We talk your language. We're not, we're insurance people. We obviously have technical people in the business, but first and foremost, we meet you where you're at and talk to you about what your customer journey is. And on that note, I would really appreciate if there are any people on the call who would be willing to share with me a little bit about their, not necessarily issues, but just their claims journey, so I can understand more about the MGA claims journey and not just UK general claims journey, then that would be great.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. It's probably just worth going back one slide as well, just so your contact details are on
Yeah.
screen. So there you can see Stephen's contact details there. Got no further questions through. So let's leave it there unless there's any points you wanted to add, Stephen.
No, I'd just like to say thank you to Lisa for, despite the break in the middle saying it was a very good presentation. I didn't pay Lisa to say that. I don't know who Lisa is, but thank you, Lisa.
Great. Nice comment. So thanks so much, Stephen, once again for your presentation today, which I'm sure everyone will agree has been really valuable. So thanks for that. You can reach InsurApps at the contact details, which are on screen now. So stephen@insurapps.co.uk. Or feel free to contact me at tim.richards@mgaa.co.uk with any questions, or if you want any introductions, and I'll be happy to pass those on. Quick plug for the MGA Claims Conference 2024. I'm just putting a link in the chat now, so you can link through to that if you wish to. That's in association with I Love Claims. You can see by following that link that you'll get one free MGA member or market practitioner ticket for that, or 20% off for suppliers. And it's on the 7th of November at the Queen Elizabeth II Centre in London. So thanks all once again for joining us, and I do hope you have a productive afternoon. Thanks again, Stephen, for your presentation. Much appreciated, and I'll see you all soon.